Hey guys, it is 4:44. Love it, love it. So right now I'm going to be doing a ClairTarot reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. This is going to be your 2020 Precog forecast. So, oh, by the way, my name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. This is your first time watching me. Thank you for finding me. This is not your first time. Thank you for coming back. So Aries, it's been a crazy ass year for you. It really, really has. Some of the things that I remember from the past few readings I've done for you guys, they've been very intense, very, very intense circumstance. I'm just preparing the cards. And we're going to look into the potentiality of 2020 for you guys, okay? One of the most common struggles, life lesson themes that Aries has gone through this past year was about loyalty, about ensuring the people that you are loyal to have earned that level of loyalty, about not allowing yourself to be used or taken advantage of, okay? So let's see. I like this. I like this a lot. I'm loving the feel of this right from the very first card. Give me a second. I'm just going to get your other cards. So this is for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, also for your cross watchers. But honestly, if you find yourself on this video resonating, feeling empowered, it's probably because your higher self brought you here to get you this message, okay? I'm really liking this. Ooh, okay. All right. One more second. And final deck. Oh. That didn't sound very good. That did not sound very smooth. Okay. Let's see. All right, guys. All right, let us see what's going on. So, all right. Do I need to put on some lip gloss for this reading? Do I? I think I might need to. I don't know. Here it goes. I'm joking. All right. So this is a really beautiful time for you. Okay, card number 45. The storms of 2019 are behind you. Behind you. That doesn't mean we pretend they never happened. That means we acknowledged last year was a difficult, very trying year. You've gotten through the challenges. Sunshine is ahead of you, okay? You are poised to turn everything around. Now, yes, you still have your back to the sunshine, but now you're focused on it, okay? That's what's important. Wherever it is you focus on, that's where you will have a tendency to turn towards. So some of you are still experiencing some inclement emotional and energetic weather, but just know all you have to do is shift, turn your shoulders just a little bit, and you'll be facing something completely different, okay? This is about recognizing the need and your ability to shift degree by degree. You do not have to become a different person. You do not have to completely change everything about you and your life and the way you see life. No, it's just bit by bit, step by step, okay? So card number 8, Chiron, healing. This is about the reunification that's occurring within you. You had been fractionated into a duality. Until now, many of you, not just one person, but many of you have been existing in a dualistic state, meaning you're only embracing parts of yourself. Meaning If it's not acceptable for you to be more feminine, then you push the feminine away and you try and act more masculine. Or if you're feminine and it's not okay, you go ahead and push the did I just say that? You know what I'm saying, okay? You know what I'm saying. So whatever it is that's not okay, that's the part of you that you push away, and it's not serving you. It's not serving you. And so this is the point where your masculine and feminine aspects rise together, where you allow the goddess energy within you, that yin, shadow, dark energy, to help heal and give gravity, texture, depth to your light. If you're going to just exist in a love and light state, you're going to become light blind, meaning light is light is light is light. There's really nothing. It's just a white blob. Okay. But when you are in a darkened space for a period, which Aries, you have been in a darkened space with all the things that you've been dealing with, you've absolutely been in a darkened space, mindset, emotion. With that, once you get exposed even to a very dimly lit light, it looks very, very bright, right? You understand where, where your place is and how to kind of get back to center. You don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to have mastered anything. You just need to begin getting your bearings. All right. And you can't just be all dark or all light, because you really won't have any idea what you're doing if you're going to do that. So at this point, it's about acknowledging all the parts of you that are wanting to be brought to your attention. Aries is known for having a temper. You don't have to be ashamed of that temper. You have to use that temper for your benefit. Okay. You have to begin recognizing when you allow yourself to be triggered by anything and everything, which not all Aries does this. Okay. I just want to make that clear. Not all Aries does this, but if, generally speaking, those that allow themselves to be triggered and lash out because, it's an Aries thing. It's okay. I'm Aries. Well, you're more than just a stereotype. All right. You can definitely harness that stereotypical Aries fiery temperament for something that will benefit you, something that will help propel you forward in your journey to ripening your inner, under, and overstanding of yourself and your soul. Sometimes, speaking of the feminine, sometimes we need to acknowledge the feminine in creation is oftentimes way more savage than the masculine. Okay. You look at male dogs. Yeah. Depending on whatever traumas they've lived through, they can become vicious. Okay. You look at the feminine, no matter how you raise her, you threaten her puppies, she's gonna bite the shit out of you. Okay. That's how it is. The feminine is soft. We're taught that the feminine is supposed to be soft and feminine and just girly and just be quiet, just fix your hair, just do your makeup. And what we're failing to remember as a people, actually, is that, yeah, that's cute. You can harness all of that cutesy stuff and be feminine and soft and, really nurturing. But the feminine also possesses a very intense energy, very dark, very, very dense type of energy that can be used to propel you forward on your journey. Okay. This is not about taking or harming anyone else. This is about allowing your shadow aspects to rise up, embracing these shadow aspects, because that's where your most of your power is hidden, in your shadow aspects. The reason it's hidden in the shadow aspects is because, we naturally, as a species, have a tendency to fear darkness. And that's for very good purpose. First, it was a survival thing. But now, as we've evolved and no longer need it as a survival thing, it's to ensure that we don't try and tap into powers that we're not mentally and emotionally mature enough to harness yet, to harness responsibly. Well, allow yourself to mature. Allow that divine feminine within you to heal the masculine so they can both rise together and you could be very solid in your foundation. And then begin doing the shadow work. Do that shadow work so you can become reacquainted with the aspects of yourself that you've been taught up until this point to be ashamed of. Those are not things you need to be ashamed of. As an Aries, if you are one that can tap into a really fiery temperament and get real, real riled up and real mad, beautiful. Beautiful. That is not a weakness, because you are not peaceful if you don't have the capacity to become very violent. This is a quote. This is not my words. You are not peaceful if you don't have the capacity to become very, very violent. You are harmless. It's those who have the capacity to harness that type of passion, that type of rage, righteous wrath, yet choose to remain civilized and peaceful. Those are the ones that hold the most power. So Aries, tap into that power, tap into that control. All right. Learn how to control these aspects of yourself instead of giving your power away to anyone who presses the button. It's the equivalent, if we're going to make an analogy, it's the equivalent of having a nuke button and going up to anyone. Do you want to press it? You want to press it? No. Put the button away. Only you should have access to that button. Oh, speaking of putting away, card number 17, what is already with you? All of this is already with you. That nuke button's already within you. Okay. We're not trying to nuke anything. We're trying to acknowledge we have the power to dismantle and neutralize any type of threat that comes along our way. So, do you have to prove anything? Absolutely not. Aries, this is the year where you're going to learn how to finesse all of your own little quirks so that they work for you, so that they serve as further empowerment. Okay. These little quirks that you're ashamed of, 100% at 4:56 p.m. Nice. These little quirks that you're ashamed of are actually things that can amplify your power, your personal power on your journey. This is not about you trying to dominate anyone else, trying to shot call, trying to dictate. No, this is about you recognizing there's nothing out of control about you or your life. You just allowed yourself to believe that. Okay. I'm not saying you deserve any of the struggles that you've had. I'm saying you had the power to co-create those struggles. You didn't do it alone. I'll tell you that much. And so if you have the power to co-create a negative experience, that means because creation loves balance, that means creation gifted you with the power and authority to co-create the exact opposite, a very positive experience. It's just a matter of what you're going to choose. Okay, this is about recognizing you have options. You have options. So the brother in darkness, overcoming negative energy with feminine power. Did we just talk about this? All right. Ooh, I like this. 8. 1 + 7 is 8. 8, 8. Reunification, healing, what's already within you, the masculine and the feminine. So it's time for you to allow that feminine badassery to nurture and heal all these aspects of yourself. You do not need to go to anything external. And this is all stuff you can do for yourself. All of it. You can do it for yourself. If you need a little bit of assistance, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing shameful about that. You can definitely seek assistance if you need it. But you're being encouraged to try first. Try on your own first. Try and see if you can get clarity. Once you get clarity, gaining clarity is the most difficult part because it's very scary to see with clarity. There's nothing to hide behind. When you see clearly, you know exactly what your part was in whatever circumstance it is that really upsets you. And, this is not something that's unique to Aries. Every single zodiac sign, there are members of each sign that will struggle through this, struggle through taking accountability for their part in that co-created reality. Okay. So card number 33, be gentle with yourself. There's no need to attack yourself. Those circumstances were allowed to occur so that you could get to this point where you're questioning, you're growing, you're expanding your consciousness. All right. This is a beautiful card. And if you look, she's facing the shadows. Look at the first card. She had turned away from the storms. Like it's very difficult for her to continue to be in that. It's almost this thinly veiled avoidance of that process. And I can't blame her because, I mean, that's not really an ideal circumstance to be a part of, right? Who wants to be in that? Nobody. You want to think of nicer days ahead because you do have nicer days ahead. Well, those nicer days ahead are there. And once you get some of that quiet and you've allowed yourself to center, take back all of your personal power, you can very gently and very calmly look at your shadow aspects. Does she have any fear? No. She's looking at all her shadow aspects. If you look at this area of the card, you'll see different types of faces. Those are the different faces that you wear for the different people that stand before you. And it's not that you're fake. No, it's not that you're fake. That is a survival tactic. Okay? A lot of us have been forced to wear different masks depending on who stands in front of us. This is a form of survival. It is a way of coping. It's a coping mechanism. It's not about trying to point out that, oh, you're fake. And no, this is about letting you know you've reached a point in your personal path, your growth, that you probably don't need those masks anymore. That it's okay for you to show your true self. It's okay for you. It's very empowering for you to go ahead and exist in your authenticity at this point. Okay. There's no finger pointing, there's no ugly words. No, you're finally reaching a point where you have healed enough that you see every aspect of your life thus far has led up to this moment of realization. Self realization, self actualization. This is the key. This is what you're trying to get to. This is what all those spiritual gurus are trying to peddle. Okay. This is what they're selling, that self actualization, self realization. They can help guide you in your thoughts, like the processing of thoughts, but they can't actually take you there. You have to do all the work yourself. You have to. You have to. There's no other way around it. You have to do all this work yourself. You're already a greatness. You've just existed in varying degrees of amnesia. You've forgotten about this. It's not something you're trying to work up to. This is something you are trying to shed all the layers of programming that have convinced you you aren't what you actually are. Mhm. You are this already. You're already ascended. You're already enlightened. But all of these layers have kept your light in for so long that you forgot that you glow. And because you've forgotten that you glow, that fear of being extinguished has caused you to externalize your fire, set everything on fire. That's why Aries is known for having a fiery temperament. Once you realize you still glow. You glow. It's a beautiful, beautiful glow. You have this power just interwoven through every single fabric of your being. You won't have that fear anymore. You won't need to set things on fire just to prove that you're powerful and no one can mess with you. Because once you recognize the truth of your power, you won't feel the need to prove it anymore. You won't feel the need to prove it. You won't feel the need to prove it. You won't feel the need to overcompensate with loyalty so that people will value you. None of that. Okay. So that whole loyalty struggle, that's an overcompensation. You fail to realize the gravity of what you bring to any relationship, platonic, romantic, business, whatever it is. You fail to realize the gravity of what you offer, that you end up feeling the need to overcompensate. And it's not for all Aries. This message is for those who do struggle with the whole loyalty thing, where they'll be loyal to someone who clearly is abusing the kind of love that Aries has. They involve you in a lot of their dramas and, all of that. Y'all are already familiar with that. Card number 52, void of course, moon missing. So here, let us see. The moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to. All is not as it seems. This void of course moon card can be daunting. It may not be a good or appropriate time to answer your question. As it is now, the results may not be what you want. So for many, not for all, but for many, you're not quite ready yet, but you're in the process of preparing yourself for levels of maturity that will give you unrestricted access to your shadow aspects. And it's okay if you're not ready. There is no rush, there is no competition. You go at this at your own pace, okay? So, let's see. The usual axiom for starting things on a void of course moon is nothing will come of the matter. Matters will not go as you planned. In fact, most of the time it will end up far worse than you planned. You've been caught blissfully unaware. You've missed something or you weren't paying close enough attention. But you won't be able to set the situation right at the current time. So if you're here and you're like, okay, so does this mean I recognize now my part in why a relationship, platonic, romantic, business, whatever, why a relationship faltered. I'm going to fix this. This is a year I'm going to fix this. No, it's not. It's not. This is the year you're going to recognize whatever happened in that relationship was a projection of something internal. Okay. Whatever happened in the circumstance outside of you, one that you really struggled with, that is a projection of an internal battle. And the goal is not to win the battle. The goal is to end the war. That internal war has to end. This is going to be your focus this year. Ending the internal war that's existed within you for pretty much your entire life. Okay. We're going to need to make sure that we take time and really quiet down the fire. Let it get real low and just glowing embers, okay? We're going to have to sit in stillness. We're going to have to make sure we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by others. This is really about entering a phase of hermit existence. Does that mean you don't go out and socialize? No. That means every day you have to enter the cave of your mind. You have to set aside time every day. It doesn't have to be an hour. You don't have to put on yoga gear, sit on your yoga mat in front of a Buddha statue in bamboo and play the perfect track. You don't have to chant. I mean, if these are things that help you, go for it, but you don't have to. This can be something that you do as you're sitting on the toilet, something that you do as you're in the shower, something that you do right before you fall asleep, where you designate just a few minutes, 5 minutes, and just allow yourself to exist within your mind. Allow yourself to just like, okay, what do you want me to think of? What am I supposed to be thinking of right now? And just allow the thoughts to flow. Okay? Allow the thoughts to flow. If you start focusing on thoughts of like, so-and-so was really messed up today. Oh, did you see what so-and-so did? You have to correct yourself. No, those are distractions. What do I need to see about myself today? And it could be as simple as seeing yourself eating lunch by yourself. What did you feel as you ate by yourself? Did you feel very dejected? Did you feel very abandoned and alone? Why is that? You're with yourself. Why would you feel abandoned? Why would you feel alone? Maybe it's a need to recognize, maybe that thought is a need to recognize that you haven't quite allowed yourself the very empowering freedom of enjoying your own company. Maybe that's what that thought is. And just taking a few minutes a day to allow your thoughts to guide you to what needs to be focused on is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. If you had conflict that day, allow yourself to think of the conflict. Allow the details to rise up. And instead of focusing on what someone else did to piss you off, to start that, how did you react? Was that the best response? Or was it just a reaction? Because reaction, again, you're giving someone that nuke button. Here, press the button, press the button. And people are stupid. They'll press that fucking button. And then they'll blame you like, oh, how come the nukes are exploding? Because you pressed the fucking button is why. Oh, but that's your fault. There's that other quote where people will get angry with you about how you react to a circumstance without considering what they did to cause you to act that way. And they'll do that. They'll do that. But you know what? Who cares? Own your decisions. Okay, Aries? That's a part of being empowered, taking accountability for what you chose to do. And you don't have to have a conversation with someone else. You just have to acknowledge this for yourself. That's why you have to take a few minutes every day. This is something you really, really need to make a part of your sacred ritual, daily ritual. And it could be while you drive to work and commute. If you have to commute for a long time, it could be while you drive. But you do have to begin investing in yourself. Invest in yourself as much as you invest in other people and their drama. That was a little bit cutting for me to say. Sorry. But that's what I heard. Invest in yourself as much you invest in other people and their drama. Okay? So you're worth the investment. You're absolutely worth the investment. You're worth more than just 5 minutes. But if that's all you can do for now, hell, that's good enough. That's good enough, and slowly increase it. There's nothing selfish about taking time to think about yourself. No, this world trains us, programs us, indoctrinates us into thinking that any time you spend on yourself is selfish. Well, why? Because you need me to dedicate my existence to you? I mean, if someone tries to shame you and tell you you're selfish for taking time to yourself, ask them that. Why? Is it because you need me to dedicate my existence to you? See what they say. See what they say. Because when you phrase it like that, which is just blunt ass truth, if I'm not going to focus on myself, who am I supposed to focus on? You? Who? The neighbor? The man kicking the boxes over at the corner? Who would I focus on? I'm not supposed to control anyone else. So who else would I focus on? Well, who would my existence revolve around? You know? So, okay, card number 5, follow your own rhythm. This is about allowing yourself to dance through the circumstance of your life. Okay? Make your life journey a dance. You don't have to march. Dance. Make it something sultry. Shit, make it like really saucy or something. But this is a recognition again. Yes, you are in your light, but yes, it's also time for you to face your shadow. Look at what direction she is facing. The shadow aspects. Shadow aspects. There's no more aversion. Instead, we're looking at it directly. No fear, no rushing, no shame. In fact, she's like, that's like the Macarena, the spiritual Macarena. Do the spiritual Macarena. You got this. The lunar queen, she of the celestial crescent. Look at that. I swear. I think I'm just going to dress up as an Egyptian goddess just to do it. I'm just saying. Just walk around the house like that. My kids are totally going to be like, why are you dressed like that? Mind your business. Stay in your lane, child. Queen mother. So hold on, guys. I totally would too. My kids will be like, oh, that's just my mom. Don't mind her. She's going through a goddess phase. She took it a little too literal. The lunar queen, she of the celestial crescent. There's a deep feminine wisdom that recognizes the importance of cycles of rest and replenishment as essential balancing to our actions of power and demonstration. You are asked to allow this replenishment for yourself now, trusting that you are in a cycle of creation that's about to shift into a new phase. Release and enjoy the process without having to control or force it. Isis, as lunar queen, understands the cycles of creative power and flow. Sometimes it can be hard to let go of a desire to force, control, and make things happen, to exert might and willpower to bring what you wish for into being by sheer determination, exertion, and force. Yet the vast creative power of the feminine principle is in honoring and flowing with cycles of activity and rest, of releasing force and surrendering into the perfection of what is happening right now, realizing that this actually brings us divine manifestation and creation more effortlessly and gracefully and to greater effect. So again, it's about the feminine coming forward, the feminine allowing you to rise, recognizing that the feminine as a wild woman, a wild flower growing haphazardly, has no apologies for her existence. Whether your gender or your sexual preference is male or female in this life, that's irrelevant. All of us have this divine, sacred, wildflower energy within us. Okay. If we're talking about the lunar queen, lunar energy is yin energy. It is a negative charge. It is shadow energy, darkness. Now we think, oh, negative charge, that must be evil. Ooh, darkness, that, evil, evil, evil. No, quite the opposite. If you look at scientific studies, a negative ionic charge is a very healing charge. It's the positive charge that's very detrimental, free radicals and things like that. It's the negative that helps to heal. So it's time for us to begin tapping into that negative. This is the very reason why our perception of positive and negative has been greatly distorted, greatly, greatly distorted. This is why when a woman comes into her power, recognizes her worth, and asserts herself, she is labeled a bitch. Well, okay. It's not my fault you too weak to handle my greatness. I'm just saying, I'm not going to shrink myself. Okay? I'm not going to shrink myself. I don't work like a peen that shrinks in the cold. I stand my ground, and you're going to have to be okay with that. And if you embody this kind of unapologetic, no, I'm not going to be sorry for existing. No, I'm not going to be sorry for shining bright just because you have grown accustomed to existing in a dark hole. Go back into your dark hole if you can't stand my light. No one is forcing you to continue to look at me. I glow, baby. I glow. Okay, let me just rein that back in. I'm getting all riled up. I'm riling myself up. I don't even know who I'm fighting. I'm tapping into the Aries energy. Just say it. Ooh, let's see what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Y'all are badasses. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Woo wee. Okay. So you have card number 27, receiving. You also have divine destiny, path of the divine warrior. Allow yourself to receive permission from creation to embrace the warrior badassery that you are. Okay? Allow yourself to embrace every aspect of you. Long gone are the days where it is acceptable to think your greatest aspects are handicaps. They are not. They are not. They aren't. Okay? They aren't. Stop believing that fucking lie. Stop believing that lie. I have a very fiery temperament. People always ask me if I'm Aries. No, I'm a peaceful fucking Pisces. That shit cracks me up. So I'm sorry. But I do have a very fiery temperament. And really though, I have been bashed my entire life for being able to stand up and speak out without hesitation when it's necessary. And it's only recently, where I released my shame of existing in that way, where I recognize, you know what? I'm a very patient person. By the time I say something and get all riled up and I'm all frothy and cussing and like neck rolls and all kind of crazy ass shit, that's because you really, really pushed me to the point where I can't let you down. You wanted a reaction, I give it to you. You work real hard for it, I'll give it to you. So should I be ashamed of that? No. But should I allow that to be something that other people can very easily do to me where they dictate how I behave? No. So this is about getting control of these aspects and knowing when you do use these characteristics, it's because it was appropriate. For that instance, it was appropriate. Is it appropriate for all instances? No, it is not. Learn to discern the difference of when it's time to speak up and when it's best to conserve your chaos. Okay? So this is about you receiving permission from yourself to accept that warrior's path. Not a true warrior lives with honor, lives with integrity, live by the code of Bushido. Bushido will tell you that unless an adversary is a worthy one, meaning there's a good likelihood that they could probably beat you, they're not a worthy adversary. That's like trying to kick a toddler's ass and you're full grown. Well, what is that? That's not honorable at all. At all. So leave that alone. If someone's acting like a toddler and you know you can kick their ass, like verbally, socially, whatever it is, I don't believe in physical violence. Okay. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And if you're going to try and interact with someone and try and school them and prove that you're right, when you argue with a fool, there's two fools. It's only appropriate to continue the engagement if you know the other person is receiving what you're saying. If they're listening to what you're saying, even if it's sounding like it's an argument, but they're receiving what you're saying and they're still trying to come to terms with it, that's one thing. But if you're both just trying to prove that you're more right and you're not even listening to what they're saying, they're not even listening to well, what's the point of that? They're not going to convince you they're more right than you as much as you're not going to convince them that you're more right than them. It's a waste of time. Moot. Done with it. Keep going. So card number 39, clear endeavor. You have to be very clear about what you want to manifest this year. You have to be very clear. Whatever you're going to manifest, it has to center around you. It has to center around what you're learning, what you want to learn for yourself in your journey, how you want that to affect the connections you have with other people. I'm kind of being also told to encourage you guys to also be very clear about your family life, your home life. I guess many Aries are having struggles at home or family, relatives, whatever it is. You have to really clarify, make very, very clear whatever it is you want to shift. And you can't put it in terms of, I want so-and-so to stop being a jerk. You can't control someone else's journey. Instead, you can put it in terms of, I want my connection and interactions with so-and-so to be something that will help grow us in the most compassionate way possible, where we can hear each other, where we're both open to receiving each other's thoughts and opinions in such a way that will help ripen our own thoughts and opinions. So that's something that's more realistic in terms of manifesting. I'm also being told something about jobs. I wonder if this card has to do with it. Hold on. Jobs. What about jobs? Everyone has to earn a living wage. What about it, though? Card number 50, Saturn return, age. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. Saturn, as a lord of karma, shatters all illusions. When this card is drawn, it will feel as if nothing goes right for you, and you may feel very discouraged. Just as it seems things are progressing, there are obstacles. What this truly is Saturn showing you a part of life that may not have been based upon anything real. It may have outlived its purpose, or perhaps you've misjudged a situation thinking it was better than it was. I'm wondering for the job part, if this has to do with a failure in wish fulfillment. I don't know if some of you maybe shifted careers, or some of you maybe started a project, a business, and it didn't pan out the way you were wanting it to. In truth, Saturn returns are all about correction. Saturn corrects any area which isn't based on reality. Oh, it might be romance, business deals, educational paths, partnerships, or marriage. This card is pointing something out to you that may not have been genuine in the first place, and that should probably be let go. Whatever is shaking your life won't last and probably isn't meant to. If this card is drawn, you will not be given a pass, and the matter in question will not progress as easily as you might want it to. But more positively, this marks a time when things are solidified. Whatever you accomplish currently will have permanence to it. You will have worked hard, and your hard work will pay off, gradually growing more successful over time. You may feel a sense of time running out. If any partnership is now being formed, that lover or partner may be older or in better standing than you. Pessimism may figure in, and you may be compelled to give up on something you believe in dearly. Okay. Saturn returns tends to bring on rough passages, but also a harvest. You are now at a time when you understand things better than you did even a year ago. It's time to be brave and face this important passage. There are no quick fixes when this card turns up. Know what you can and cannot do. Take life in a measured way, much like this planet of time already does. Let go of your illusions, for they do not serve you. You're down to the brass tacks now. Time to see what you are made of. Damn, I read that as brass knuckles. I'm so channeling Aries energy. You're down to the brass knuckles. Shit. So this is about being very realistic, okay? Very, very realistic. Just because you are experiencing struggles or some type of failure in whatever you originally planned does not mean you're a failure. It does not mean you're not going to find your path. It doesn't mean you're not going to find that niche that you exist within that will bring you financial abundance. It means you have been distracted by something that's not in alignment. It means you need to take time every day to realign yourself and find what it is that you're passionate about. What is it that you should be doing? And oftentimes, when you will realign yourself, create that realignment between self and soul, that pathway for abundance becomes unblocked. It's just a straight away. And what ends up happening, the thing you're most passionate about becomes something that brings in your financial abundance. Okay. So it might not even be what you think it is. What you're thinking this thing is might be what you want it to be, because it's an image. It's something that you've convinced yourself is, something that will impress other people. The feeling that I'm getting, and this might not be true for all Aries, it probably isn't true for all Aries, but I will share this message because I'm being given it. What I'm getting is that for some of you, what's been going on is you've been living a life that's all about overcompensating, putting on a really nice show to show your what do you call it, your worth, desirability, all of that stuff, to make you appear to be doing much more better than how you're actually feeling inside. And this is not a uncommon thing. You know what I mean? This is a part of your growth process. A lot of people grow through this. Some people outgrow it as a teenager. Other people continue to struggle through this phase all the way up into their adulthood, beyond adolescence. Sometimes there are individuals who struggle through this phase all the way up to their, deathbed. And there's no person that is better or worse. It's about an acknowledgement of what your organic process is and how you can better support yourself. If you can be honest with yourself, if this is something that you struggle with, you're still in this phase of your emotional and mental development, and you're struggling with it, and you can be honest with yourself. You don't have to admit this to anyone, okay? You don't have to. This is something you can just process on your own. But if you can be honest with yourself, you can find the things that will help support you as you process and hopefully be done with this phase. Once you acknowledge, that's the first most powerful step in empowerment, acknowledging the areas that need attention. Okay, you're not broken, you're not flawed. This concept of perfect is absolute bullshit. The concept of a perfect life of success that we as human beings are peddled from all forms of, social media, movies, all of that shit is programming. It's bullshit. It is bullshit. I don't care how fancy your car is, how big your house is, how amazing your wardrobe is, if you're always in season, in style, and all these trips that you take, and how many social media followers you have, subscribers. I don't give a shit. You have problems, you have drama, you have insecurities, okay? Every single human being has those things. You're just better at hiding it. So let's be honest. All right. So if you feel the need to compare your life to someone else's, no, they have a shitty life too. They're just better at hiding it. Okay. Everyone thinks their life is, well, no. Most people think their life is shitty because they're comparing to someone else who seems to have a better life than them. But guess what? There's tons of people out there that see you and compare their life to yours and think their life is shitty and your life is amazing. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Okay. It takes a whole nother level of spiritual growth to get to a point where you're not comparing to other people. And you're just like, you know, there's more things that I can acquire, more things I can accomplish, but I'm pretty happy with who I am right now. I kind of like my own company. I kind of like where my life is, and I'm open to more growth in whatever way that growth will arrive. But I can say that I'm satisfied with who I am in this moment. And if you can get to that point, my God, the freedom you will experience, the freedom and the self power, the personal power you will experience is profound. It's profound. Other people's attempts to knock you down will not work. And Aries, I just really get the feeling that you guys tend to be a pretty big target for that. The knocking you down, the targeting you. Aries and Pisces. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Aries and Pisces have a tendency to really be targeted, like y'all are easy targets. Pisces are they don't even know what the hell they're starting. So Aries, forget about what they're trying to do. Forget about them trying to target you. Instead, you need to focus on how you're going to get yourself to that place mentally and emotionally where you kind of just like who you are. You're still growing. There's always space for you to expand your consciousness. Excuse me. You embrace what life is trying to teach you. You're okay with the fact that sometimes you won't agree with the lessons that you're being encouraged to go through. Sometimes you won't agree with the path your life has taken, but you are willing, you're open to submitting to the will of soul. You're open to being developed into the person you have always been. Because that's what this process is. It's a shedding process. You're shedding the layers of other people's perceptions of who you're supposed to be for them. Okay? For them. And oftentimes, who that person is, it's not in alignment with who you actually are. They're going to have to be okay with that. You're going to have to be okay with that. You are who you are. If you have to try to be something, that's not who you are. Who you actually are, you just are. You just are. You don't have to try. You just are. Okay? So Aries, this is going to be this is going to be a very raw year for you. Okay? I wanted to say something really positive. I was preparing myself to say something really positive, and I was like, oh shit. Oh, it's going to be a very raw year for you. And I say it's going to be a very raw year for you because you're being sandblasted. These layers that have kind of been pressure sealed on you, they're going to be sandblasted away, and that's going to leave you feeling very raw. You're going to be over exfoliated. This is spiritual exfoliation that's occurring, especially in the first, I want to say 4 months of this year. But just like exfoliation of the skin, that's what brings the most beautiful layers of skin forward, the new fresh layers. And you're going to have a glow about you. Once you're done with this, I think you'll become very exhausted. And if I'm going to be very honest, Aries, I think you need to get exhausted to get you to stop fighting your own process. Unfortunately, if you can submit to your process without being completely dismantled by your own soul, then that's beautiful. Your soul won't do that to you. But if you're going to continue to resist your natural progression, yes, your soul will do that to you. And I'm not going to judge you. I always choose that way. I always choose that way. I have to get really beat down by life to be like, all right, what did you want me to do again? Shit. I'm not even joking. Fucking my higher self forced me to live in a parking lot for 5 months before I agreed to do live streams. Before I was like, fuck, fine. Okay, fine. Because up until that 5 months, the whole 5 months, I was like, this ain't that bad. It's not that bad because we had money. I just couldn't leave the state and all the RV parks were booked up. And I totally was like, it's not that bad. It's like glamping. Y'all is too much. But that's how I learn. I'm the one that chooses for the lessons to be that intense. I could have just been like, okay, I'll go live. It was all for me to go live. I'm still bitter. But the moment I did give in to what my soul was so lovingly and patiently asking me to do for like 3 years, that whole circumstance resolved itself like that immediately. It resolved itself. Everything lined up to generate a ridiculous amount of funds to fix my brakes so that I could leave the freaking state. Only for my soul to bring me back to the damn state. The same state. I'm telling you guys. It never makes sense. What the higher self is trying to do will almost never make sense. Okay. Once in a while, you get a very rare glimpse of something and like, oh, aha, I get it now. But that's usually in hindsight. So if you're going to be doing this journey back to yourself and expecting to have clarity before you move forward, good luck with that shit. Really, I'm not joking. Good luck with that. You're not going to get it. And the clarity you think you have, it's probably going to be ego-based. It's going to screw you up worse. So if you can enter this part of your journey with this knowing, like, I'm not going to understand everything. I'm okay with not understanding everything. I know when I'm emotionally and mentally mature enough, the answers will be given to me. The understanding will be given back to me. And then, that's that. But yeah, you're definitely going to be exhausted. Well, if you're exhausted with the attacks of people when you know you're good, you might want to take some time to see how you speak to yourself. Okay? Because the entirety of 2018 were people attacking me, attacking my integrity, my public reputation and image. And I was like, what the fuck is this about? I don't hurt anyone. And then I realized, oh shit, they're just reiterating the very private, very silent internal monologue that I have with myself because I'm very hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist of the worst kind. And I'm very, very hard on myself. And the things that I found myself saying to me for many, many years, these were the things that were being said by other people. And the moment I corrected that within myself, I mean, I'm still harsh with myself, but not in that way anymore. I shifted it and I'm still needing to shift it more. But once I made that shift, all of that bullshit stopped. All of it. It stopped. People can still talk whatever they want, but the way in which it affected me, nope. Now someone says something about me, okay, bitch. Thank you for sharing. I don't care. It's not my truth. I know I'm not like that. So why would it upset me? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Aries, the first portion of this year is still about purging out the old. You're still being adjusted, shifted degree by degree. There will still be some conflict that is needing to finally be resolved. And this is not true for all Aries, okay? If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, don't try and make it fit. But, there are things that are being settled. Okay, it's not about settling scores or like getting even, retaliate. No, there's a lot of disharmony that's being allowed to settle, quiet down. And so you have to allow that process. It's not something you can rush. It's not something you can like strong arm into happening. And if you do that, it's going to rile up that disharmonic energy even more. You're going to have more disharmony. So be patient with your process, be patient with yourself. Take time for yourself, a few minutes a day where you're really analyzing the roots of your actions and decisions, not to prove that you're a bad person, but to better understand yourself, better understand why you choose the coping mechanisms that you've chosen. It's just about understanding, really ripening your understanding. You're perfect the way you are. The concept of perfect that we've been taught is bullshit. It's really bullshit. There will never be another you that's as perfect as being you as you are. I don't believe that there is a creator that is so, omnipotent and knows everything, but made a mistake when they made you. That's utter bullshit. That's bullshit. You were created in perfect measure. Now it's time for you to return to that original state of creation. That's all it is. That's all it is. You kind of got displaced a little bit from center. You're finding your way back to center. And that's all it is. Okay? So, you guys, if you could please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me every single time I'm live. I'm going to be live again to finish off the other zodiac signs. I hope you join me. Bye, guys.